Hello, everyone, and good afternoon to the Authoritas Time SEO, where we encourage everyone to take a break at 4 p.m. to connect with others and learn some new SEO and analytics tips. Today, we are joined by two great speakers who will be sharing their tips around optimizing for local search. I'm SEO Joe Blogs, and I'm also joined here by Carrie Shepherd from Authoritas. And today we have Claire Carlile and we have Fiona Soum talking to us about local search. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Azim. I want to know, does anyone have their tea ready or maybe a cup of coffee? We are tweeting out the photos for Time SEO before, just follow us at Twitter. And Carrie's been sending out some of the emails of the agenda for the week. If you would like to get involved, please get in touch with Carrie at the end. And please also drop in your questions, and we'll be having some Q&A at the end. I'll pass over to Fiona Soum, who will be doing her intro and then give us some great tips about how you can optimize for local search. Over to you, Fiona.
Thank you, Joe. Introduction first. My name is Fiona. I'm an SEO consultant. I work at Builtvisible. I joined 2 years ago. More recently, I shared a Excel formula cheat sheet for SEOs available on Builtvisible blog. And then I work across a variety of accounts operating in different industries, with most of them owning local businesses in the UK, in Europe, and in the US. So yeah, that's why I chose local SEO as my topic today.
Great. And I just also wanted to share the Excel formula that you shared. Do you mind if we put it in the chat?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, we'll do that. Thank you. And hello to everyone for joining. I read Caitlin, Anna, Azim, Sarah, Flo, Lawrence. I'll pass over back to Fiona for her tips.
Tip number one. So I chose number one as use Google My Business and other platforms. So as you probably all know, Google My Business is the most popular one, the one that we refer to in different SEO articles and the one that is usually taken in case studies. But there's also other platforms like Bing Places and Apple Maps Connect that are available and provide an opportunity to boost the visibility across different platforms, across all those platforms. So there have some benefits. For example, for Bing Places, the competition is much lower compared to Google, which gives you an opportunity to boost your local visibility faster. They also have a different integration of all the categories and services and social networks where you have all the lists compared to Google My Business, where you only have the primary category, for example, visible. And on Apple Maps, obviously, this one is used by default on all the Apple devices, so iPhone, iPad, and Mac. But the other benefit would be about the DuckDuckGo search engine that is integrated with Apple Maps, Apple Mapping data, and has recently enhanced its capabilities. So it's another beneficial thing to think about when doing local SEO. And then, tip number two. So it's about business categories and using your competitors to establish yours. So most of the time when it comes to business categories, it can be very easy at first, thinking, business category is quite easy to select. However, looking at your competitors can give you an advantage to, first of all, not miss an opportunity and target the right primary category and see who's ranking first. So I've put this example with W Fitness First, London, Liverpool Street, where you can see the primary category is gym. So what you would do to check the categories, is not checking.
Sorry, it's not appearing, but it is in the slide.
Yeah, for some reason, where I can just describe the process. So basically you would go onto the Google Maps listing, search for, look for in the search code for gym with a Control F. And then you will have all the categories they have selected displayed because the secondary category are not visible on the listing, basically. And then tip number three, strengthen local signals on your website. So kind of like everything is not just about local platforms like Google My Business. There's also the local signals on your side that you would want to optimize and make consistent with everything. So for instance, you could create local pages specific to your local businesses, or you could use local and long tail keywords on relevant pages, such as near me terms. You could ensure that information such as business name, address, working hours, everything is accurate, like you would do on all the platform, the local SEO platform. Make sure everything is consistent to ensure the users have the right information. You could also embed your business locations Google Map listing on any page that you think is relevant. And also a link building kind of aspect to it would be to check whether all the links from external sites like directories are pointing to the correct pages. Tip number 3. And then tip number 4, use schema markup. So basically this boosts, this kind of like optimize the way information is displayed on SERPs. So not just on organic results, but also on the local snack pack, which is on the right. You could use local business schema, postal schema. There's a lot available. I'm not going to go into too details here because of time limit, but yeah, there's a lot of case studies online that I'm sure will help you out with this implementation. And tip number 5, so ensure your site is mobile friendly. So as I said before, it's not just about local SEO platform or just the local entity. It's also about the site as a whole, about the site performance. So with more and more people looking for information on their mobile, it is increasingly important to have your mobile site performing well and being optimized. So a couple of things you could do is improve page load time to hold users' attention, which is a topic that I think Roxanne and Rachel tackled 2 weeks ago on the Tea Time Talk. So something for you to look out if you wanted to. Another point would be to use large, easy to read text, high quality images and videos to improve, again, the user experience and make sure the file size is kept to a minimum to make sure that it loads faster. Ensure your site design is responsive to adapt to mobile use, provide the same information and interaction available on the desktop. So no massive difference between mobile and desktop. And I also linked the mobile friendly test and page test tool if you want to be a bit more granular details on your own website.
Great, thank you. Well, we love all granular details, and these slides will be available after, towards the end of this week, with a blog post summary, some of the talks of this week. And I just also wanted to say hello to Sarah and Simon and Andy for joining. Thank you very much, Fiona. Some great, excellent tips. I will pass over now to Claire.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello. So I'm Claire, and I work with me, for me, at Claire Carlile Marketing, and I wrote a guide to UTM tagging for GMB, and I think Joe's going to stick the link in there. So I work with a lot of small and medium-sized businesses in the UK and elsewhere, and today I just wanted to go through, like Fiona's top tips, go through some tips for keeping your clients and potential clients updated on the state of your business during COVID-19. So I think a lot of businesses struggle even at the best of times to communicate using GMB. So we'll look at communicating what hours you're open, if you've pivoted in terms of the services or products you offer, and also answering people's questions about, you know, how are you keeping me safe in this time? Oh, we're on tip 1 already. So I'm just going to change that. So if you have been fiddling around in the GMB dash somewhere, you'll see that you have this little sign which tells us that there's limited functionality at this time. So obviously small business or businesses of all sizes want to communicate with their potentials and their customers, whether or not they're open and whether or not they're still offering the things they've offered before. And you'll see that there's various changes that have happened in GMB as to what shows in the business profile and what doesn't. So reviews are one of those things that are chopping and changing. So from March the 20th, new reviews weren't showing, and businesses couldn't respond to new reviews because you couldn't see them. And then responses to older reviews also weren't publishing, but you can now reply to older reviews. They are publishing. I checked that today. People can't leave a review if you've marked your business as temporarily closed. So you need to keep that in mind if you're still serving customers and asking for reviews, because they won't be able to leave a review. And then some industries in some categories are seeing a slow rollout of new reviews. Q&A has completely disappeared from the business profile. And if you're trying to get in touch with GMB phone support, then chat and support aren't working that well. So it's best to use the form, which is linked to below. Oh, and then you need to think about, following on from that, what's the best way for you to communicate whether you're open or closed, or whether you've got special hours. So a couple of things in here. This is new in the GMB dash in terms of you can now mark your own business or business of your client as temporarily closed. I think GMB support used to have to do that for you. And then there was a bit of a hoo-ha when this happened in regards to, oh, well, if I do this, is my visibility, my organic visibility, going to be affected? So there's a tweet there from Danny Sullivan who said, well, no, it isn't, but it used to be. So that's a new thing. So this is an example. You've got Folly Farm here marked as temporarily closed in their business profile. But interestingly, I looked today, so the link underneath with the Google support. So a little bit, not the opposite to what Danny said, but if you mark your business as temporarily closed, if you're dining or a retail establishment, then your result won't surface on Google. So you need to keep that in mind and not mark your business as temporarily closed if that's one of your, your primary category or your niche. And then you need to communicate whatever your messaging is during this period, then making the most of the existing and the new ways to communicate that message via GMB. So on the far left hand side, you've got one of the new, if your business has Google Posts, so not a lodgings category, then there is a COVID post, and I think that lives for 14 days, is live on a desktop and a mobile, but only 14 days. So a lot of businesses are then updating their business description. So that's the middle picture there. So they include a little bit of their messaging within the business description, because that's going to be permanently in the business profile. And then a lot of businesses are also using just standard GMB posts, whatever type of post they use, to communicate any special messaging during this period. So just a reminder to make sure that you add UTM tagging to any links that you post from Google Posts through to your website. And following on a little bit from what Fiona was saying about schema, now I haven't done this myself, but it's interesting to see that Google has announced some special structured data that would suit COVID-19 announcements. So this is coming straight from the developer's subdomain on Google. So this is a list of places where this could be potentially relevant, but it's very new, so we don't understand at the moment where this is going to show in the SERP or off the SERP or in the business profile. But we do know that schema, in the example of events, when we add event schema, that can get processed and pulled into our business profile. So if you've got like maybe just one or two locations, then this is worth giving it a go to see what happens with this. And there's a link there to a Whitespark blog post on how to actually use this schema in the context of a small business. So it might be worth trying that one out and seeing how that looks in the SERP. And then This is about being joined up in our approach, really. So it was difficult to find just one business that would be a good illustration of this. But if you've got a statement about your response to COVID-19, how you're keeping people safe, also how you're pivoting your business potentially to offer products and services in a way that is different to how you've delivered them previously, then you need to make sure that you've got that information on your website and that you're also using GMB to drive traffic to that statement where you can keep it updated. So this is an example of a distillery that are using Google Posts to illustrate an interesting story in that they're making hand sanitizer. Also, they've not completely pivoted, but they are offering free shipping. So they're making sure that that is highlighted in Google My Business posts. And then you've got a yoga provider that has truly pivoted in terms of they're now offering all their services online. And then there's a statement on a website here, which is explaining their closures because of coronavirus, but they're also highlighting the things that people can still do and can still buy. It's my child outside at the door banging. And then the last one is not one of my clients, but it's so nice on here. This, it was a farm. Can you scroll back one, Joe? Goat to meeting. So obviously people can't visit this farm anymore, but what they can do is get a goat or one of the animals to join them on a Zoom meeting. So it was a nice idea in terms of turning a very physical experience where you have to be on site into something that they can monetize and sell online. And obviously it was a really great story as well. So they got some really, really good high-tier links for that. And just a link there underneath to a post by Phil Rozek on Local Visibility System, where he outlines some brilliant ideas for how local businesses can really, truly pivot and deliver their product or their service online. And then the last thing was just if you're into local SEO and you want to learn more, then I did put together a resource on my blog, which has got a big list of people to follow on Twitter. It's got a big resource on webinars, paid resources, free resources, and some slide shares of people that are really interesting in the local SEO space. And that's it.
Well, thank you very much, Claire. Can we share this also in the chat, that one?
Yes, please.
So Claire's big list. Thank you very much. And thank you to our speakers for joining us today. I know it's a very busy time for many of us. So we have some questions. I'll pass over to Carrie to ask some of those questions to Claire and Fiona. Oh, I think the sound is just gone for a second. Try it again, maybe. Oh, one more time. Oh, we're just having technical difficulties. I think just need to work on the sound. This happens for us sometimes. So Carol will just work out her sound. I'll just ask one of the first questions from Stephanie. This is to either of you, or to both. In your experience, what local page content strategies work effectively and at scale?
For me, for example, with one of our clients, what we did is create specific local pages for example, they had multiple shops available in the UK. So we created a page for each of those and tried to optimize those in a local way. So trying to have keywords like near me or specific to the place. Maybe Claire, do you want?
Well, in your content, partly depends on number of locations, but I've seen some really good hub pages that work well. Taking the example of someone like Home Depot in the US, where you've got some lovely pages which are either, so you can have, if it's by area, you can have multiple listings on one, or you have, obviously a dedicated landing page for each of those locations. And then when you talk about at scale, obviously they all need to have unique content, but you can use the same template in a sense, like every page has relevant driving directions or information about how to get to that location. You can have what a lot of people forget is how to remember to cross-link to their category pages from those pages, because those location pages are very powerful. But people forget all the other, business critical things that they want people to do and forget to link to those things from those pages.
Yeah.
So many tips. So there was just one comment in the chat. Yes, this will be available. It will be on the YouTube Authorities channel. So please refer back to the channel and you'll have this video forever.
Do you hear me?
Yay!
Yes. Okay, great. Sorry about that, guys. So we have another question from Flo. She says, I manage SEO for a multilingual website and have recently migrated 32 CCTLDs into one. I've started tackling local SEO optimization, but don't know where to start. What would be your advice?
For me, I would say to start with local platform, because it's the easiest and it's the first step that we can take. So as I think it's one of the slides, is to start listing all the location that they have potentially on an Excel sheet, and maybe acquire those listings on Google My Business, Bing Places, and Apple Maps Connect, if that's possible, if they have different listings or one.
Great, thank you. So that was the Excel sheet. I think I've also shared that. I've also shared it in the chat.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. We have a question from Azim. So he had a business mark temporarily closed due to COVID-19 in GMB. It was published but isn't showing up in the search. Any ideas why this would happen or suggestions to fix?
But there's that thing about depending on the categories, and when it's not showing up in the search, is that for a brand name search, or is that in the map pack? Would be my question.
It doesn't say.
Azim, it depends.
Oh, that old response, it depends. Yes, it's true.
He has not told us yet. I will let you know if he does. So we'll move on to the next question for the moment. Simon Cox says, Google Shopping is now free, announced earlier today. How can that help local businesses?
I don't know. I need to look into that, Simon.
Yeah.
Maybe you could speak about it at one of these events. That would be good. You could tell us. Great. So Azim said it was for branded search.
Branded search. Well, I don't know. I'll have a look. Have other people checked as well as you? Is it just you? That's not, none of those things are very helpful, but without knowing more, I don't know the answer.
But they can contact you on Twitter at Claire Carlile.
I'd love that.
And on LinkedIn, and same for Fiona.
Yeah, please feel free to add me on Twitter, and then I'll be more than happy to investigate a little bit more on all of those questions and help out.
Just looking, see if I can find any more questions. Loads of comments here.
So I think we have one from Simon. Google Shopping is now free, announced earlier today. How can that help local businesses? And actually, I want to add to that. Obviously, Google Shopping, when it first came out, was originally free, and then it did get taken over by paid search. But back to that question, how can this now help local businesses? Over to you, Claire and Fiona.
Did we answer this by saying that Simon could tell us? But yes, obviously it's a massive opportunity. I'm not a paid person, so I'm not really using it, but obviously it's going to be a big opportunity. If you think about how you've got Google products as well, and then you've got product listing ads. So I'm wondering about the interplay between how that would work for a small business. It's interesting. I'd like to know more about it.
Sorry, yes, maybe we did cover some of that points before. I was just, there was just so many comments and questions. So I think that's it for today, but you will be available on Twitter, both of you, to answer any other questions. We will be here tomorrow at 2 p.m. for discussing how to build a community around your brand. We have Lewis, Anton, and Sarah. Sarah was in the chat a few times before. Thank you everyone for coming. But if you would like to be here, like Claire and Fiona, please contact Carrie. And we're running this all throughout May as well. So thank you very much, everyone. We've got Andy, Stephanie, Ray, Jay, Fateh, Andy, Caitlin, and Sarah. Oh, so Sarah's tomorrow. Sarah's been here and she'll be here tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you. Bye.